How'd you end up in Columbus, Mississippi?
I'm just a Minnesota country girl and grew up, working hard, building resiliency, just trying to survive the blizzards up there.
Yeah.
And actually ended up in a domestic violent relationship for about 7 years.
Hey, welcome to the show. This week's guest is my good friend Annabelle Davies. Annabelle does social media, the stars, a little bit of coaching, that sort of stuff. I don't know. I watch her stuff, but she's going to have to tell me her life story. So how do you define yourself other than a mother of 27 children and a farm full of animals and husband?
I define myself as a certified high performance coach who dabbles in social media because it's fun.
Yeah. And so tell me your life story. You've got 5 minutes. So
Okay.
where'd you grow up? How'd you end up in Columbus, Mississippi?
Oh, man. Well, I grew up I'm just a Minnesota country girl and grew up, working hard, building resiliency, just trying to survive the blizzards up there.
Yeah.
And growing up. And I actually ended up in a domestic violent relationship for about 7 years and had moved across the country. And I had escaped it with my 2 toddlers. And it was actually my husband, Nathan's family, who had essentially taken me in after we had fled and escaped. And we were homeless, no money, no work, no job, no car. And it was Nathan's family who I just fell in love with. They taught me how to parent and just gave me the encouragement I needed to get on my feet. And then he actually ended up coming home. He was out in Colorado training in the Air Force to be a pilot. And he came home for a visit in Minnesota and we met. And I didn't like him at first, wasn't interested at first, but we hit it off later and here we are.
There you go. So we'll get back to the domestic violence stuff because I know if there's a personal growth person, that's a big topic. But so you're with his family. He ends up sweet talking you, I guess, or charming you, or he tricked you one way or the other. In his own way. Yeah, he's a very specific person. When I met him, because I bought a piece of art from him, which was a light from the Air Force Base. He had one at the Arts Council, one on Facebook. Or not,
yeah.
It was a runway light or whatever.
Yes.
And then he came to my clubhouse, and I could see how his mind, where does aircraft mechanic work and other pilot work and all kind of stuff. And I think the first time y'all came for a party with some of our friends or something, he saw something was broken. And I was like, I got him. Because I know that you can't leave him alone with that. Like, he has to avoid me now because I have broken things, and he wants to fix them desperately. You know?
Yeah, he is not happy unless he is fixing on something.
Yeah. And so how'd y'all end up in little old Columbus, Mississippi?
We ended up in Columbus. So he's in the Air Force. So he moved us across country after we got married to California. We were there for a few years, went to North Dakota for a few years, and then he was moved here for a pilot slot. But once we got here, we weren't even unpacked, and they're like, actually, we're going to pull your pilot slot, and you're going to be the ROTC at MSU, the college. We're like, okay. And so his dream has always been to be a pilot. So he decided, okay, if I can't be one for the Air Force, I'm going to be one on my own. And so he became a pilot and teaches other people how to fly now and get their pilot licenses. And then he also is a plane mechanic.
Yeah, it's a good combo, especially we have 3 or 4 small airports within driving distance. So
yeah, it's worked out really well. And he's loving it. So it makes me happy.
Yeah, he's a worker bee. So, okay, so y'all live out, I know y'all are out technically, I don't know if it's the prairie or close to Plum Nelly. Y'all are kind of out there. How many kids out at the farm? I call it a farm.
It's like a micro farm, I'll call it. But we have 5 boys. Okay. They're 4, 7, 10, 14, and 17.
That's a handful.
Yes.
And you do homeschool the kids, is that correct?
I do homeschool the kids. Although my oldest, he graduated when he was 16, so he's off doing his own work and adventures and projects and stuff. It's pretty cool. Okay. But I absolutely love it.
Well, I'm going to jump forward. So how do you get into personal growth and coaching and that sort of thing? How long ago did that start?
Oh, man. I want to say it started about 8 years ago. I had just had baby 4 and no, excuse me. Yeah. Okay. Baby 4. I'm losing count here. And I was still having some PTSD triggers, major anxiety, depression stuff from my domestic abuse that I had escaped. And I was also feeling very isolated because we had just moved to a new place, didn't really have community there. And I had met someone on Instagram. Somebody had friended me, and we just got to know each other and chatted. And I had prayed one night. I was like, Lord, I feel like I'm so overweight and feeling terrible in my body. I'm not showing up as the mom or wife I want to be. I'm just stuck. I feel like a shell of a person. So please give me something tomorrow. Like, just give me something. And the very next morning, my friend reached out to me. She's like, listen, I don't know if you're like have any idea what this is, but I think you would be an incredible coach. And your story needs to be heard. And I was like, what? And I ended up partnering with this company and her, and started my health and fitness journey and my coaching journey that day. And I figured, like, I still had such low self-esteem, low self-worth that I didn't think I was worth doing anything for. But I was like, if I can make myself better for my kids and my family, because I truly believe the mom sets the tone for the home. And if she's unhappy or down on herself, that leaks out onto others. It bleeds out onto your kids. And so I was like, okay, I may not be willing to show up for myself, just for me, but I know for a fact if I'm feeling this way, there's other mamas out there who are feeling isolated and alone, and they need someone giving them a hand up and moving forward. And so that's kind of what inspired it all.
Okay. And I've seen, so where were you on other than just Facebook? I know you're on Facebook. Are you out everywhere on different channels?
No, I'm mainly on Instagram. And then I kind of shared over to Facebook. I've been asked to start a podcast or YouTube and stuff, but I feel like I'm very much a high achiever. And if I put my mind to something, I put my everything into it. And right now it's like, no, I've got littles at home. I really don't want to take more time and energy away from them in this season. So maybe someday.
I don't do TikTok, and I mail it in on YouTube or whatever, like, because like you can only do a certain amount of stuff. And same thing, I want to do them all right, and I don't want to sit there for 3 years till that becomes a job. You know what I mean? Like, because like the same thing, I'd want to post 600 times a day on TikTok or whatever, or digest it too much, which is probably a problem for a lot of people on social media, which is they're just eating it all day and not putting anything out on it.
Yeah, it's so easy to get into consumer mode instead of creative mode, and that just drains a person. But for what it's worth, I am loving your podcast. And like,
you're the one.
Come on now. No, but seriously, like, I love hearing your episodes, and because like, I don't know, I feel still new to this community. So meeting, quote unquote, new people on this podcast who are in the area and hearing their stories and how they've built through hardship and setbacks and everything. And they're still like growing this community. It's just so inspiring. And I absolutely love it.
Well, we've had that on there. We just had a guest just leave, had the same sort of inspirational story. And, you know, everybody seems like they have it easy, you know, from the Facebook and the Instagram. Like, it'd be easy to look at you and be like, oh, it's fitness yoga mom. Thanks a lot. You know, but you share the stuff with your kids so much on your show. I call it on your show, but you share that sort of thing. And you mentioned struggles of mental health and those sort of things, which a lot of people just don't talk about. Like, a lot of my first few guests that I had on here, like Russell Poole and Amy Bogue and these other ones, are people who accidentally mentioned some personal growth thing one time. And I was like, like, I just like, we're going to be buddies and we're going to talk about this all the time.
Absolutely.
Because I'm every night going to bed listening to some, either meditation or personal growth thing until my wife hits me in the head with a pillow. How did you get on to was the coaching first, or was Instagram like tied into that?
It was, Instagram.
Because it is kind of, you're not in New York. It's a little harder to reach people here.
Yeah. Instagram was, I would say, my consistent Instagram use and social media use was tied to definitely my coaching and my fitness story. Before that, it was just sort of like an occasional personal blog to remember memories and then help family stay kind of connected to us in our lives since we were, not near home. But yeah.
Did you start the fitness thing on there, or did you wait? Did you wait till you were perfectly healthy to start posting stuff?
Oh gosh, no. I think, like, from what I've seen, a lot of a lot of the people that I knew, I saw them on social media and what their life kind of looked like curated. And then I knew them in real life. And there was this dissonance and like no judgment on them. I know you can't obviously share all of life and you don't want to share all of life on social media, but I definitely led mine intentionally, went into it intentionally. It's like, I am just going to be me and share the hard and the good, because I don't want it to be just a highlight reel. But I'm also very strategic with it. I'm not just going to share a hardship and let it be that. I would almost always spin it to win it. So it's an encouragement or some sort of tip or some way for people to take that and not be like, oh, look at her, she's got it great. It's like, okay, look at her. She did it. Why can't I?
Yeah. I always think my kids are getting older now and starting to look back at my social media stuff, or they're aware, because before they're like, well, Dad's not cool and this is a big dork. And then they'll go to Kroger and somebody will be like, you're Allison. They're like, how do you know me from there? What I always think of is when I'm taking pictures or doing stuff with other people is what would their kids want to know? Like, what would their kids hear? Like, when I take a picture, I'm like, you got to be so proud of last night. I did it at a police event where I said, the new city inspector's awesome. Like, y'all got to meet this guy. Try to think of it in that respect. And the same way when I talk, like if it's about my family, my wife had a horrible battle with cancer, but like, so I brought that up. I didn't bring up my suffering or the kids, but I was like, she's awesome. She's doing this. She had another surgery, just like a quick check-in. And it's the same thing I would share if my aunt called. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's nothing. There's some things you're not going to talk about with your aunt, or you might only talk about with your coach or your therapist. But, but there are things where you're like, you posted one the other day about one of your kids snuggling up, and I thought you were holding him in front of the refrigerator, and then the other kid came and asked a question. You're like, just got him to sleep.
Like,
yeah, which is a very relatable problem,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not everybody's got 27 children, but
maybe not, but they should, because kids are awesome.
Kids are awesome. Something I heard a few months ago that I've been just harping on, and we try to intentionally spend as much time as we can with our kids because we know they're going to leave, is I heard that every kid is raised by a different set of parents, because you react. And you have 5 at once, and the 3 are really close in age, but they're still, y'all are maturing and growing. And Nathan has 27 jobs, and Nathan's her husband has 27 jobs, including arcade repairman. And so and pond caretaker and all these other, y'all have all these other things. And what a blessing that you're staying home with them all the time. Like, the best part for us was my wife finished chemotherapy right before COVID hit. But then we couldn't leave the house because we were like, I'm like, she could die from the common cold. Yeah. So I got out of a lot of the COVID arguments. I'm like, listen, she can die if we leave the house. So our kids got to spend a ton of time with us. And that became her tougher times because she had autoimmune disorders and surgeries and all these other problems. But the kids were there. Yeah. So we realized, like, oh my God, not only are they here, but they're leaving soon. So now, 2 of my kids are pretty much out of the house. You blink your eyes and then they're gone,
Yeah.
So what lessons have you learned from oldest to youngest? Because like you said, you had 2 with you. 2 of them are precipitously older or just a bit older? The big one, who's the giant one,
he's 6'4", 17 years old.
Yeah. So is he going out in the world a little bit?
He is. He's been out to Alaska during the summer doing fishing, commercial fishing with a crew out there. Now he's working for Magnolia Tree Services, who's Brad Elliott. It's an awesome family.
Yeah, they're very, talk about feeling safe with your kid doing something physical.
Yeah.
Like if you send them to like a concrete company or something, you're like, well, they might get hurt, or these guys might take them out drinking or something. But Brad Elliott at Magnolia Tree Services, all the personal protection equipment in the world. He's got the most professional tree stuff. He knows how to do it. Like, I can't imagine they cut their finger while they're doing it. Like, they're just grown up. So what a safe place. I can relate it to the same. My oldest daughter went to work at Zachary's. She was doing good babysitting and pet sitting. And I'm like, you got to get toughened up. You got to interact with the public. But I sent her to Zachary's, which are my best friends run it. And, if somebody was inappropriate with her, they kicked them out of the restaurant. Like, I felt safe. And I didn't even think about that. I did see him working with them, but I was like, that's a great example of,
it really
I feel
is
safe with him being there.
Yeah. And I feel like it helps with that transition of sending your kids out into the world, because it's both heart-wrenching at the same time and happy. Like, it's so so exciting for both, because it's like, wow, look at him growing into be such an incredible man. And so having someone like Brad Elliott, who you trust, he's got an incredible reputation, who you can, who's willing to take your big 17-year-old under his wing and apprentice him, mentor him, teach him is such a gift.
Well, I think that's probably one of the biggest gifts that I see from most homeschool families. Homeschool families have the same challenge that other families do. Like there's some homeschool families who are just honestly just trying to keep their kids at home, either for religious or other reasons, but aren't putting in the work teaching them or aren't teaching them. As I say with our kids in school, I said, with the exception of MS is just rigorous. But up until 8th grade, I'm like, they're just teaching you social skills. Like our kids aren't learning. Our kids, they had the eclipse, the total eclipse, like 7-8 years ago. We took our kids out of school. I assumed nobody else took their kids at Annunciation out of school. We took all 3 of them, drove them to the top of the tallest mountain in Tennessee, and stared directly at the eclipse. And I came back and I'm like, a whole bunch of people missed school yesterday. Like, no, and I'm like,
why not?
And so like our kids set the record for absences at school. We were just constantly taking them out. I'm like, they're not. And then once they got to 9th or 10th grade, I'm like, all right, just go learn some more social skills and learn some math and figure out what you want to do. That's my main theory of why parents or adults are always asking kids what they want to do, what they do when you grow up, and we're looking for ideas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one of the people think is a limit of homeschool is like, oh, you're not being social and you're not making connections. But then think of a 16 or 17-year-old that can go to Alaska and do fishing and then work at a tree service company. And then next year, if he wants to work for an accountant, work for an accountant. If he wants to work at a factory, and by the time he's 20 or 21, he's experienced careers, which especially technical stuff like aircraft mechanics and everything looks like it's going to be a little more valuable than people thought over the next few years. So.
Absolutely. And I think one of the gifts in all of it in homeschooling, which maybe most people don't recognize, is that yes, there's major freedom and flexibility in it. And I feel like there's also a heightened responsibility when you homeschool your kids. And I feel like most people don't recognize that. And I know homeschooling doesn't work for every family, but for ours, it just made sense. And being able to match our values and the kind of men that we want to raise with the kind of like what we want to teach them. And it also fit our lifestyle of moving all over the place. It just made sense to homeschool. It's been
a huge part, especially since COVID. The numbers we hear from the base are 20-25% are homeschooled.
Oh, yeah.
It's big, and especially when you realize, and again, sometimes it becomes more of a challenge of once, sophomore, junior, senior year, some people cave in and be like, I know you need to go to school. You're a human being, want to see girls and want to see boys and want to get out and about. But luckily here in Columbus, in Lowndes County, there's a huge support system, at least I've found for people. And then there are other people who are sending their kids to private school or private Catholic school who still want support outside of that. Or if they're sending their kids, like they said, I know y'all are familiar with the Bentons, and there's a bunch of other families in town, which is funny because I met you and I'd already known in a parallel world Brad Elliott really well, and then Andrew Benton, and then they're like, yeah, we're going over y'all show up at a party together, and everybody's there, and I'm like, it's you wonder how that, I like to say great people know great people. Like we just keep meeting the same folks over and over again,
Yeah.
And I think it's neat. Did you use ChatGPT to make yourself a list, or is that real?
No, I just typed it up. And
old school, old fashioned. So
I'm definitely.
I still have a little. I'm using AI for funny videos and stuff now, and
I saw your monkey one.
That took me 10 seconds, which is pretty good. And so I'm kind of thinking the only things right now I use AI for is writing a summary and the transcript of these podcasts, and then I edit it. My brother and I are both former newspaper editors, and I saw what Otter AI, which I'll give him a plug, did with the summary of this, and I was like, oh, that's really good. It gives you can tell it, give me 2 paragraphs on it and give me, and then we still have to edit it, but I'm like, this is good. And it really did save us time. And I haven't found too many other uses for AI other than marketing and things like that. I think we're going on a divergent situation in my point where a year from now, you won't be able to tell what's real and what's not. I think people will just shrug and go, I think the internet will go back to it'll be more ubiquitous and everywhere, but I also think it'll go back to being amusing. Like it was in 2005, where you're like, I got to watch a video. But I don't think business people will be like, I have to be on this site or this site or this site because it's going to be this,
It's just going to be all meshed together.
Right now, AI can fake a website, and they're getting close to being able to fake Amazon and Facebook. That's what Facebook and Amazon are worried about.
Yeah.
Is when the computer can, you and I can be having a chat on Instagram, and then somebody comments on there like, here's the link for the best thing, and it looks like somebody we trust, and we trust it, and it looks just like Amazon, and then all of a sudden our bank accounts are drained. That's more of a fear for me than our AI overlords coming to destroy us all with miniature drones. Once again, for the 18th episode in a row, I'd like to mention our AI overlords are wise and powerful, and we should respect all of them. All praise AI.
Oh
but we have to do this. I've been telling people for the last year, you got to start doing stuff in real life.
Absolutely.
So how does that play into the coaching? You have some clients now. Are you talking to them on the phone? Is it Zooming, or what are you doing?
I do both, and sometimes in person. It's definitely catered to the individual where they're at. I had a client in New York, so obviously we did Zoom. We've got clients locally. We did an in-person, some on Zoom. It just depends. But in tying in the AI part with business, I just a note, it's I think it's so wise to incorporate AI and protect the areas where your creative genius shines through. For instance, for me, I'm definitely a creative writer, and my storytelling and just my perspective of things. So I protect that and don't use AI for it. But for outlines or business systems or an email flow outline, without it creating the content for me, but giving me the flow, that's how you can use AI to save time and make you more productive and higher performing without losing the essence of yourself. So that was my
that's hard for
TED Talk of it.
That was your entire TED Talk. I see a lot of people have come on here with the AI outline that they did 10 minutes before they got here, which is fine, because I obviously don't have one. I'm trying to remember. I just let our last guest go without talking about something that was important. He talked about dropping out. It was Clay Bowen. It'll be the episode right for this. So Clay talked about he dropped out of college, and he was embarrassed for it for a while. And I forgot to bring it up, but he was the fifth or sixth guest I've had who are pretty prominent people in town. Scott Ferguson being one of Financial Concepts, manages $1 billion in assets in little old Columbus, Mississippi. And he's like, I never finished college. Yeah. And I'm like, I wouldn't tell that to all your clients. And he's like, 8 of my top 10 clients didn't finish college. He goes, I'm not saying not to finish college, but he's like, the pressures of the world of you're supposed to do this, especially with everything going on. I think my daughter's at Ole Miss now. I think she entered college and what'll be looked at history. I think the fall semester of 2025 will be, air quote, the worst time to go to college. The most expensive, the least accessible, the highest cost of living. And in 20 years, I guarantee you most degrees won't be cared about. And at Ole Miss, they're talking to them every week about it. They're like, hey, the class you're taking now in 4 years is going to be completely different. We're going to have to, they're talking about going back to the Socratic method of teaching of standing under a tree and talking, because, it's just going to how it is. So,
I foresee definitely there's going to be almost like a demand and a bring back for personal ambition and creativity and drive. Whereas I feel like a lot of that, and responsibility, ownership of your life, there's going to be a greater demand for it coming up, more so than just what degrees and certifications you have. Because as someone who also didn't finish college, I had, had baby 3 and was at home. Nathan's like, do you even need to finish your degree? I was like, not really. So I finished up the credit I had and then here I am, certified high performance coach, teaching 6 and 7 figure CEOs and entrepreneurs and business owners through success habits. And a lot of them didn't even finish their college. So it's
and I'm not saying don't do it, but don't, we decided to stay here 12, 13 years ago, really stay here. We've been here 20. My wife and I talked about no matter what happens, we want our kids to be able to go to school where they want to school. If they don't want to finish, they can go to truck driving school or wherever they're going to go. It doesn't matter. I want them to have the best truck, and then we want them to have the greatest semester ever for, fall of freshman year. And part of that's, if the kid doesn't want to go there, it's hard because we had 2 kids in a row go to MSMS and everyone goes to college there, And so my middle daughter, I'm like, you can go to the Air Force Academy, because we've met a lot of people at the Air Force Academy who are just incredible. Or have graduated from the Air Force Academy. Yeah. There's a lot of money in those hills and different things. You know what I mean? Like I said, your husband's an aircraft mechanic, you're a coach. I think everybody thought with AI, when I was a kid 30, 40 years ago that like AI would come along and get rid of the low end jobs first. Well, it's looking like consultants and accountants and those kind of people are going to be the ones in trouble. So,
Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about, like, when you coach somebody now, what are you, is it mostly fitness? Is it all across the board? Do you only do one or the other?
Actually, now from just from this past year. So, okay, a little bit of backstory. Last year, I was probably 6 years into building my health and fitness wellness coaching business that I had partnered with a prominent company in the health and fitness world. And in October last year, the boys and I were actually in Minnesota. Nathan was still here because we were just loving on and supporting my mother-in-law, who was just diagnosed with terminal cancer. So we were just trying to spend time with her. Anyway, while we were there, we were just blindsided. All of my business partners were blindsided, and all of our customers, teams, everything was absorbed into the company. They had restructured their business. And so, 98 or more % of our income was gone, and it was just poof. Overnight, I was like, all right, I don't have that health and fitness business anymore. And so a couple weeks later, I enrolled into the certification program with, if you're familiar with Brendan Burchard, he's one of the world's leading coach in high performance and personal development. So I trained with him, got certified under him, and just launched my own signature program. So that's kind of the backstory of that. So I'm not so much in health and fitness anymore, even though I just do it myself. And then I have like this little group of friends who keep each other accountable. But I mainly coach CEOs, entrepreneurs, and business owners or spouses of 6 and 7 figure earners to higher performance in the 6 success habits based on the science of high performance. I feel like I said high performance a lot
High performance.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's part of it. It's part of the growth thing. Well, that's, there's some, obviously now more than ever, a realization that there's no separation between health and stress and performance and personal growth. The biggest breakthrough I had with my coach, which wasn't directly in the middle of a conversation, but we had talked for months, and I'm trying to work him through, like, hey, I'm waking up in the middle of the night, and I automatically go to, hey, this literal today. Hey, you need to cut down this tree at this rental. Why haven't we? With a propane tank's leaking at another rental, we got to get this flip house done, or I'm not going to have the money. And, this just tragic thinking thing that during the day doesn't happen to me. Like I meditate in the morning, jump in a cold plunge. I'm like, go, go, go. And I couldn't get over the stress part of it. And then, like, we just kept writing down my daily habits and what was happening. And what I woke up at 4 a.m, and I couldn't go to sleep because I was so excited. I figured it out. I was either having a drink or a Rocky Road ice cream, like after 9 o'clock at night, and I was waking up with the low blood sugar, high blood sugar, which kicks in your cortisol. And then especially for men, the only thing we can correlate it with is the tiger coming at you, is that there's stress. Yep. So something must be wrong. And you find it so quickly. And I mean, once I figured that out, like I woke up last night at 4:30 and I started going that way. I'm like, nothing's wrong. Everything's always been all right. You can be okay. It's been all right till this moment. You're not stressed about that. You just ate, two seedless mandarins at 10:30 at night, which you shouldn't have done,
Well, kudos to you for like self-coaching yourself and having that self-awareness. Because I feel like it's most often people get into those spirals and they stay there for days, weeks, months, because they haven't practiced that self-coaching and like self-awareness method. So good job.
I have Yaakov Weinstein is my coach. He's been on here. We talked for like an hour and 45 minutes when he came. And my biggest problem that I've had, like mentally, like I still have some of the things that everybody has, of sense of self-worth or imposter syndrome, or I had a really bad June in real estate. So the correlation, like I didn't make enough money, I'm not a man, I didn't provide or whatever, is there. But like before that, he sent me a podcast, and it was about manifestation and the tactical parts behind it. Not like put a picture of a Jeep on your wall, but like if you look for positive things and look for things to work out, you're going to find more things that are positive that'll help you work out. But one of them was like I call them my incantations, but that's not when you're talking about like, hey, I'm Colin Krieger. I weigh this much. I make this much. I work and play with my family. I, am present with my children. when I'm saying one of those things, the guy is like, we've got to make sure you really believe this. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, no, I thought I was saying it and then it was happening. And I had like a 3-week quandary where I was like, I don't know if I really believe this, because before I'm like, I'll just say it till it happens. And everything kept happening, because you are what you think about every day. Like,
Absolutely.
If you're thinking about everything sucks, everything's going to suck. So do you, go ahead.
Can I teach you just a little? You might already be doing this, but like hearing this, I'm like getting so excited. It's like, have you ever practiced future proofing?
I may not know what the word, but tell me what it is and maybe I'll find out.
Okay. So while I'm hearing you talk, you're like, okay, I do the affirmations and like things keep happening, but I still feel this wave of like self-doubt and identity, like sort of like misalignment. And so my little tweak for you, because you already meditate. Well, actually, let me ask you this before I give you this like little tip. What does your meditation look like?
So like at night, of course, sometimes that's to a fault because it puts me to sleep. It's 15 minutes. It's mostly gratitude, like a Tony Robbins sort of thing. Like,
So you're listing through the things that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
Okay. And with your affirmations, you said that you are, or your incantations, you called them.
Yeah, affirmations. Yeah, I'm Colin Krieger. I make this amount of money per year. I'm present. I work and play with my children. I'm healthy and my family is healthy. I perform with purpose.
Yeah.
So they're not extremely specific, but in my mind, there's a specific bracket under each one.
So there's this little tweak that I swear it is so stinking powerful, and it's called future proofing. It was coined by Moira Kusaba, who I believe Tony Robbins even called her and was like, "Yo, can I borrow this?" And anyway, so what you do is you take those affirmations. Let's say, like, just give me one affirmation or incantation.
Okay, I'm present with my friends and others.
Okay, I'm present with my friends and others. And what you do is after you say it, you're like, I'm present with my friends and others. You're going one step beyond that and you are celebrating it as if it's already happened. And it's called future proofing. And so I am present with my family and friends, and you're going to look for proof, like 3 proofs in that day of how you were present with your family and friends.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I was on my phone and my daughter walked into the room and was so excited to share something with me. And I immediately set my phone down and looked her in the eye and responded. That is proof that I am present with my family and friends. Oh, you know what? My friend called me today and I didn't just dismiss call, be like, oh, I'll text you later. I answered it and set aside 2 minutes to listen to them and respond. So you find those proofs, and I swear it's like this jet fuel to your affirmations and incantations already.
Well, I can see how that connects to, and Joe Dispenza, who's with Tony Robbins, is one of the big proponents of that, of connecting to the emotion in the future. Like,
Absolutely.
Like I have a thing of writing down, like you're writing down things that magically worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Like the things that do get me, generally speaking, we realized over the last years are with my kids. So like, oh, my kid didn't get into this specific college at Ole Miss. And then there's a third round of it where it's like, long shot, And so I'm like, oh, she didn't get in. It didn't work. It's because most of my stuff I can take care of. I'm like, oh, everything's always been all right. But for my kids, I'm like, no. And then when it works out, I'm like, I got
disappointments. And
then when of course it magically works out the way it's supposed to work out, whether they get it or not, then I'm like, oh, I got that. So and that's sort of the same thing, but that's looking at kind of things I'm categorizing as bad, and they're like, see, you were wrong, which is never a great thing to do. But I like the idea of that, of going, connecting to the emotion of like, hey, I did that right, or this worked out right. And that feeds into the gratitude part of it also. Absolutely.
And it connects even more with your identity. Because most of the time people who've had regrets, like there was a study done and they went and researched and, interviewed people who were on their deathbeds and such. And one of the most common phrases they said is like, I didn't go for it. Like I didn't do this thing. I chose not to be happier in the moment, and a lot of that was like had a core or a seed in what they believed about themselves, their identity, what they like, the pressures they thought they had to be or who they should be instead of who they felt called to be. And so when you can, connect to the emotion, but also that future identity of who you're growing to, your higher self. It's just, it unlocks a whole new level, and I love it.
Yeah, that's why, and I've talked to my coach and other people about that, is the limiting beliefs that we impose on ourselves are unbelievable. Like, of just what we think we can't do because we live here. I posted something the other week about, your city, your location, your zip code, your house, your family doesn't predicate your income or your success, something like that. But there are tons of people in town here who are doing, who come from old money, who are doing horribly and are stressed out. They still got a lot of money, but they're stressed out and miserable. There's other ones that are are just personal growth champions and growing all the time. And there's people who run car dealerships here who are doing horrible, and ones that are doing phenomenal. And there's realtors that are doing horrible and ones that are doing phenomenal. And I think the best way to get through the limiting beliefs, which are what you're talking about, is having a coach or a counselor or somebody you can talk to about it, Because I get all excited and my friends are like, can you send me something? And I'm like, boop, 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 boop. I'm sending them all.
Let me send you like a dozen different podcast episodes.
Yeah, and usually there's always one thing in there, which is what kept me for a while from getting into some of the deeper stuff, where I'm like, okay, this manifesting crap. And then because they always have one part in there, they're like, which is just probably a little wacky. And it may not be wacky to them, but I'm like, he's pushing a little far. Like, as a marketing guy, I'm like, could you not talk about unwinding the strand of DNA with your brain? Like, if you cut that part out, we're good. And my part that I talk about my kids, and you don't realize, I'm sure you may realize, how much do you coach your kids?
Oh, all the time. I actually have to work so hard to remember to put my mom hat on and not my coach hat. Because okay, they need a mom right now. They don't need coach. Or I'll even ask them, it's like, okay, do you want me to listen? Or do you want me to help you find a solution here? Yeah. I have to clarify. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, that's how my kids talk about me when I heard them. This was 3 or 4 weeks ago, right before my middle daughter, Katie, turned 16, got her truck. She was like, Dad was taking me around. She's like, was he doing the same thing? And they're like, yeah. And he goes, I drove them through an intersection of Mike Parra and 45 where somebody had just recently died in a wreck that day. And there's always a lot of wrecks. And I drove through, and their version of it is like, you probably could have stopped a little longer. You may have killed somebody if you had done it. I'm not mad. And then so every time they're like, every time Dad does something, they're like, you overdrew our bank account. You gave her our credit card number, and now the Russian mafia has. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I want us to work through this together. They had a VIP basketball game at the W last Tuesday night, and my daughter Julie was gracious enough to go with me. I fell down on the second play of the game. And in my mind, I had slipped. Of course, she had video of it. I tripped over my own foot. And I fell down. But then later in the game, I came back in and I broke up 4 plays in a row. So I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm even. And we're going to Chick-fil-A or Wendy's or something afterwards. And she's like, yeah, I just want to say, Dad, you really just straight out, and 14, that no reason 14-year-old should be saying this. She goes, you really overcame a difficult obstacle there. You really could have let that falling down get to you and get embarrassed. And, you came back and he made the best of what you could out of that situation. Anyway, I want a 4 for 4. And I was like, you just hear your kids talking. You're like, oh my goodness, how did that come through? So I was like, in some ways I'm like, maybe I should back off on the coaching. But then with my oldest daughter, Allison, we talk about stress and too many tigers and coming at you. That phrase, too many tigers, if you're not don't absorb personal growth, is talking about our mental state where we're human beings and as primates, where the threat most of our life was not having enough food or the fire or the tiger coming to eat us. And there's no difference in our system, our nervous system, of us failing that test or that boy or that girl not talking to us or a friend not liking us than a tiger. And we equate all of those things to tigers coming out of them. And some of them are tigers and some of them aren't worth it. And some of them are eating a brownie at 11 o'clock at night and waking up and being stressed out. So,
yeah. And circling back to what your daughter said, what a gift though. I hope that gave you such a moment of parenting pride, because I'm sure all parents out there, it doesn't matter how good it looks like you're doing, you still have those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck am I doing?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Am I failing at this? I'm just winging it at this point. And so when your kids do something like that, it's just
yeah, well,
they did it.
My Katie, the middle daughter's at MSMS and got behind in math a little, and they called us in to talk, and Dr. Eastling, who's the headmaster, I call him the headmaster there at the school, it's Hogwarts. My excuse, when it happened, I'm like, we just never really looked over in her homework and, let her get behind during COVID. That's part of our problem. I could have pressured a little more like this. And I know he's just looking at me like, It's the toughest math school in the southeastern United States. Like it's not anybody's fault. Like you just got to work. And of course, in my mind, she's not going to make it, and she's not going to get to go what she wants to do in the rest of her life. I wouldn't do that to myself, but for her. And then now she's got like a B in the class. She's fine. But that's a number one response of a lot of coaches is like, would you tell somebody else that? Would you tell somebody else like you're a piece of? I can say a podcast. It's my podcast. You're a piece of shit because you ate that brownie last night at 11 o'clock. Or you're not good enough. Or you would never tell one of your friends that. Even if, there's maybe the 3% of pessimists in the world might do that. But like, you're not going to tell your friend, like, you're never going to make it. You're not going to, coaching's a waste of time. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you're not going to tell your friends that. And why are you telling yourself? And it's so hard. But it's so difficult to remember.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest keys and like mindsets that I needed to adopt as an adult, starting health and fitness and coaching and parenting and all that. I didn't realize until I had started helping others just how mean and unkind I was to myself. And I was like, man, what if I had to write on a wall every single thing I said to myself where my kids could read it every day? It's like, what if I had to write that out so they could see every single mean thought I said to myself or called myself? It's like, no way. We are changing that right now.
Yeah, and that's hard. And I've practiced both going back in time and forgiving myself. Like some of you, I know a lot of meditation people are going back and talking to their parents and stuff like that. And I've had very real moments with that. But I have to intentionally go back and tell, like, hey, I know you did this. Or my wife's favorite one where I have to forgive myself for not telling her I bought a house. We bought a bunch of rentals like in 1 year, and it was a really good deal. It was on Priscilla Drive. It's a good rental. It's tenants just moved in, and the propane tank is leaking. I just didn't tell her. Every other deal, I'm like, hey, it's worth this much. I get this. We fix it up or whatever. And then I just remember around Christmas 1 year, she comes in holding a blue piece of paper, which is the deed to a house, and she's like, just want to share anything at all? And I'm like, what? And she's like, you didn't tell me. And it wasn't even where I went, no, I told you about it. I was like, yeah, I didn't. She's like, it's not a box of stuff from Target,
Yeah.
Bought a house. I'm like, and I was like, well, I forgive myself. I'm working backwards. So,
oh, that's funny.
So do you have normal stuff for the people in town? I mean, how do I say this? Do you meet them in a church group and stuff as far as coaching here? Or you kind of hopefully you attract more than you track down?
This year, I've been really protecting my calendar with just the whole transition and grief of losing that past business that I loved and losing my mother-in-law, and then just slowly trickling in clients one-on-one. So I'm now opening up my calendar and open to opportunities of exploring how I can serve this local community more with my high performance coaching. And I've actually met up with Anna Pantano, I think that's how you pronounce her name, at Redwood.
Yeah.
And we participated in a couple of her business and beyond masterminds. She hosts those once a week, and just connecting and networking with people in the community is where I've started. And the vision is right now, I only want to open my calendar up for 5 one-on-one clients and take them through my 12-week high-performance program. It's a specific curriculum to help you seek clarity and generate energy and courage and influence and just really heighten your level of success to long-term standards without burning out, without losing your health or your relationships. Because I've found that a lot of high achievers, especially those who are just rocking business, they're amazing leaders at business, they're finding that home life is crumbling, or maybe they're dissociating at home and just sort of on autopilot. And there's not that aliveness with their kids or their spouse or anything, and they want to build that. So I'd love to help them close that dissonance.
And that's what'll lead to regret is I'm very fortunate that I was talking to some dads who kids are going to college with this year, and they're like, I just regret I didn't spend more time with it. I'm like, I'm good. I really feel like I miss my oldest, but I'm like, we did pretty good. And she came back for the first time, and we were all emotional for about 10 minutes, and then we were like, we remember you. It's okay. We love you. But that's how people end up with regret is that and who gets mentioned on this podcast more than anybody is Ryan Munson for being an unrealistic person. He was a stockbroker, opened a candle store, and now he owns Munson's, among other things, Munson Brothers. But like we talked about that and had to relate because there are people who have different versions of he and I publicly than we think we are, than we identify with as far as work-life balance. There are a lot of people who have this imaginary stress of a work-life balance, not their work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
Because like my kids didn't see me for 6 years in the morning. Like I didn't take them to school, but I picked them up every day and I got to go to every soccer practice. And that's, because I was working my butt off and I'm a morning person from 6 to 2 p.m., and then I go to some events and take my kids with me. And like, I bring my kids to a lot of stuff. So, and then there's other people who are like going on vacations all the time. And some people are like, oh, they're not working. And I'm like, don't worry. Don't worry about either one of them because neither one is perfect. Neither one is it's perfect for you.
Absolutely.
And that's such a blessing on the homeschool part. So,
it is.
I'd like to mention that, by the way, now that Heritage will be out of session, hopefully by the time this airs in a few weeks. But like my daughter Julie was a little sick today, but she's in 8th grade. She's got straight A's. Like she stayed home.
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't, other parents might be like, you need to go and you did. I'm like, you're not going to. I still say she's doing finger painting in 8th grade, but everyone disagrees with me. Heritage Academy is a mighty fine school. Look, they've gotten 2 of my kids between Annunciation and Heritage 2 in a row going to MSMS. So they're doing something right there at the mighty Heritage Academy. We're getting sort of near the end of our time. Is there anything on your cool list that you specifically wanted to talk about?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. I just had notes here in case there was anything we wanted to cover.
We just talked about a whole really in-depth personal growth stuff. I can tell most people, like I've always been into, as I say, generalized personal growth, probably since most of the people here have known me in town, 10, 12 years. I'm a big education nerd, both for real estate, for marketing, but for everything else. But I've had a coach for the last 2 years, and that's how like less hair has fallen out in the last 2 years. I'm a lot more healthy. I did some EMOMs this morning, some like squats and push-ups and stuff like that. My coach is Jewish, and I was like, you can't call it EMOM. And he's like, it's every minute a movement or I don't know what it is, Jakob. But I was like, I'm thinking like a Muslim imam, like the preacher. And he's like, no,
it's
not
every
at all.
minute on the minute.
There you go, every minute on the minute. That's what it is. So my legs still hurt from I'm in 1 week into doing it. We've been trying to find a way that like correlates the fitness into my life, and I've lost like 40-something pounds slowly, which is in my mind, I'm like, that's because I'm doing incantations or positive affirmations.
Stepping
like,
into
I weigh
that
this
identity.
much that I'm slowly losing the weight. And he's like, we just need precipitously speed up that affirmation, and do something about it because that's part. As soon as we talk about a health routine, I go back to being 19, and as if it isn't perfect, why am I doing it? Which is Dorothea Brand, don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. Most people don't have a podcast because they want to have the perfect. I've had the perfect mic like 3 times, but until I finally ran into these guys at Catfish Alley's, Mississippi's only Web3 podcast studio, until I ran into them and it was in and out and you could do it, I got rid of all my excuses. Like what a benefit. Until I had a cold plunge at my house, I didn't do it all the time. I need to build a sauna at my house. But I need to sell some houses, and I'm not a good realtor. See, you go right into the self-doubt part of it. But yeah, so this part of the health thing, he finally found something, at least for this last week, where I'm like, I can do that. Like this 10 minutes, I can do it and may graduate into something else. Because from age 16 to 21, I was running like crazy and riding bikes everywhere and playing sports and working out 2-3 times a day and
highly active.
And so that was talk about part of your identity. Like, I grew up in New Orleans. I'm like, I'm not going out tonight. I got to work out. Like,
yeah. And what most people don't realize is like anytime you start something like that, like it sounds like you've really worked through the self-reflection, self-coaching, and just building that discipline, even when you don't feel like it, even though you don't feel like you're quote unquote ready or it's going to be perfect. And that is such an important skill that most people, I've found most clients that I work with, they haven't made that connection yet. They wait for ready, but they don't realize ready, quote unquote ready is an emotion and it's random. Randomness is rude and it also doesn't get you anywhere. Like it just keeps you on this cycle. So
It's a backdoor way to explain coaching and intensive personal growth to people where I say, can you think of a time in your life when you really were focused on getting a specific car or doing a project at work? Because we all have ups and plateaus. I say we don't have downs. I think you're going up, up, up. You're educating yourself, then you have a plateau and you get kind of satisfied. Where you kind of blank out. My best example is like when my wife had cancer, those first 4 months, I don't remember anything. It was the most productive time ever for work because you've trained your mind to take care of the work stuff forever. Right now, legendary Braden Sensing is watching us film stuff, and he's a very good performing guitar player. So I imagine while he's up there singing, he might not be thinking about the guitar playing. You know what I mean? I know that's hard to do both at once, but like there's certain times where you can get into grooves, like I can talk my butt off. You know, it's not even a thought, but like the work stuff seems to take care of itself when you're going through trauma because your default, your baseline is so good. And I tell people, if you can think of like your default baseline is I can handle any stress, I can deal with anything, I perform with purpose, I play with, am present and play with my kids, I see oceans and mountains with my family. If that's your standard, like I tell people, like think of how many people you know that don't make a lot of money that go on vacation all the time. Not that are broke, but they have an old car and they go on like 4 or 5 cool vacations a year. And you're like, I wish I could do that. I'm like, they're making like 40 grand a year and doing it because it is their identity and their priority.
Yeah.
And my biggest challenge until recently has been getting the health part of that into it, in every facet of it. Yeah. But just me saying that that's my hardest priority makes my coach go, oh, like it doesn't have to be. Everything else was like, or I can't imagine if you had talked to me 12 years ago when I was starting in real estate that I'd be disappointed selling 50 houses a year when a normal person sells 5. And I'm like, well, I had to go out in the world and find people. It took me forever to go to seminars and coaching things where I'd find people who were used to selling 50. And those are my friends. Yeah. Like I want to be around the people who don't think that that's crazy.
Yeah. And I imagine like I imagine that going from 5 to 50, there were some different milestones in there, right? And at each milestone that you reached, you like reset and upped the bar. And each time you redefined what success looked like for you. And that's such a beautiful mindset to go into it with when you're building a life you really freaking love.
Well, when at a certain point where I was like, okay, that was too much. So COVID year did 108 deals.
Goodness gracious.
That's insane. So people ask you, how'd you do that? I'm like, well, that's why 50 is easy now. Because I had systems into place and mindsets. The biggest one is not procrastinating. I do my best. Sometimes we all fail at it, but like Meg Robbins, Meg, who's our personal growth friend. Golly, Mel Robbins, 3, 2, 1, make the call.
Yep.
And I have so many times people will tell me bad news, real estate, charity wise, another thing. And then I'll call the client or the other person. And then so they'll call me back like 20 minutes later, like, hey, before you make that call, I'm like, oh, I already called it. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, it's not going to get any better.
I already took action.
Yeah, I say I procrastinated. I waited about 30 minutes to call somebody with bad news about it. I gave them a number and it was about $2,500 off. And it's been a huge stressful situation and all this. And then like me waiting that 20 minutes, most people could have blown it off for 3 or 4 days. And I called him and I'm like, hey man, I got to eat this real quick, this. And he's like, oh, okay. I was like, even in that 20 minutes, I was like, he's going to be mad. But you can do that for days. And of course, procrastinating in your mind switches it to like, oh, I've already done it. Like your mind literally goes, you've done it and you haven't. And that's why people forget when they procrastinate. And then they're like, oh, I didn't make that call to that person.
Yeah. And so you live the worst case scenario multiple times before you even go into it, and it ends up not being as bad as you thought it was.
It's never been as bad. I have had $500,000 deals fall apart over a loose toilet, and I have had an $80,000 deal where I emailed the guy and told him I need a new roof, and the other agent was like, I'm sorry, I know this is going to fall apart. The guy didn't call me back, and then I called him on Friday. I'm like, I need to talk about this roof, man. The deal's probably apart. And then I drove over to his house on Sunday morning, and him and his dad are putting on a roof. And like, I wasn't even procrastinating, but in my mind, I'm like, this guy's crying. He's mad at me. He don't want to even talk to me. He was putting on a roof. And so we have these versions of what we think people are going to do or what people are like. And you're just like, I've been telling people recently, I'm going through the Columbus Police Academy thing. And I was like, if y'all just got to know these guys, you'll know that no matter what the newspaper thinks or anybody, like they're not evil human beings. Yeah. I have honestly really only met 2 or 3 people in town, probably because of personality disorders, the whole time I've been here. Not that I have a mental problem, but like our narcissist or other thing, that generally don't want what's best. like even the worst council people, a couple who may have embezzled or something back in the day, 99% of the time they were trying to get a street fix. They were trying to get something done. And I really feel like everybody's like that. They may not be in the moment, might not be the best waiter or the best whatever, but like everybody wants what's best, you know?
Yes.
But you got to get to know them. So
I love that too. Cause a lot of people, it would be so good to have more people adopt that mindset of the future still holds good things for you. Give other people the benefit of the doubt and give them a chance. Like have the conversation instead of assuming the worst. Be like just implementing those 3 will clean up so much stress in almost any relationship ever. A lot. So my goal is to just make the house as peaceful and joyful for him to walk into and restful as possible. It's not always the case because, there's a lot of chaos in our house, but at least give him like a path to a restful space and keep him well fed and happy. And yeah, that's kind of all I can do.
What about you with 5? So I have 3 girls in the house. And at one point I had my wife, 3 girls, my mom living down the road, a female dog and 2 female cats. How do you do it with the opposite situation with boys and boys and boys everywhere?
Oh, good. How do I run my days?
Yes. I mean, I know most moms would sit in a corner and cry like once or twice a day. Do you sit in a corner and meditate sometimes without them there?
I typically will get up before the kids and I'll have an hour and a half to myself where I'm looking over my goals. I'm getting my workout in, getting ready for the day. The journaling and just getting my heart set and my mindset right for how I want to be and how I want to welcome them in the morning. So I definitely, before getting into the health and fitness coaching realm, I didn't do that and it was not good. I definitely would want to hide in the bathroom or put kids down for like 3 naps. I didn't, but I wanted to put them down for 3 naps a day just so I could get a mental break.
Put a little Benadryl and the Cheerios there.
Oh, goodness, no. But no, now I've learned the systems that work and the flows and the rhythms that work well for our family and our values. So I feel rested and energized, and I've learned how to genuinely enjoy my kids now. And yeah, it's wonderful now.
Yeah, and it's all a matter of perspective too. Like, if you look at your kids like gifts, which is hard to do, but if you intentionally start the day that way, then you're like, it's so amusing. You hold them up by one leg and kicking. So. Do y'all have chickens or hogs or anything there? I think you have chickens.
We have a handful of chickens. We have a dog. We have some cats just to kind of keep the critters down. But yeah, nothing else. The kids are trying to convince us to get a cow, a horse, goats, and no.
Is there a fence out there? I haven't been out there.
No, we don't have a fence. We're just
it's literal free-range cattle if you got
literal free range, yes. But also Nathan very much is not like... He will let me do a farm if I want to, as long as he has to take no part in it, because he cannot stand taking care of animals. He's just like, nope, we don't need it. We'll just go buy whatever we need. We're not dealing with that.
Talk about a lot of friends in this space. Like, again, a lot of our mutual friends are the farm type.
Yes. So it works out. There's a lot of locals where, we can get beef from this friend and pork from this friend. And, I bake a lot of bread. And then we've got our chickens and eggs. So we're set. Yeah, we don't need any more animals.
Do you have a set time of day for the homeschooling? Does everybody sit in one room and go over it? Is it on paper? Is it on a computer? Tell me about that.
I do a combo. So what I've learned in coaching is that you learn a topic, like learn a subject, and then what's the word? I lose my word sometimes. You like relearn it at a deeper level if you teach it to someone else. So we will do reading starting with the little one, and I'll have the next age up help him with his reading. Then the next age up will help that one, like the second boy 2, and so on and so forth. So there's these levels, and obviously I'm there helping them if they need. Yeah. So we stagger it. So some are doing chores or just getting their coloring and playing in while 2 of us are doing school. And then we'll do science and history together, read a subject, and then they'll just get like a worksheet per, like at their own grade level. So it's pretty pretty chill, flows easily. They learn a lot, and it doesn't take up our whole day, which is my favorite. And then we do meals together at the table, like every meal together at the table. And we don't have electronics and stuff going either. So there's so much discussion with real world events, or what did you learn today, or what's your mission for this week? And so it all kind of incorporates together.
Yeah, I think the eating at the table is one of the most important things we did with our kids. And, post COVID, it broke up a little the older they got. But, we ate dinner every night. And during COVID, it was a little weird. But before that, so they got 10 straight years of that. And I think and I've heard about it multiple times. So the largest study they ever did on success in families was 50,000 people from France, Great Britain, the United States over like 45 or 50 years. And the number one correlation by tenfold wasn't old money or how much money your parents get or where you went to school, is did you talk and play and learn with your children from the age of birth to age 9? That was it. That was the number one correlation by tenfold. Are you talking and playing with your kids? And the minute I heard that, I was like, I'm not going to events at night. Like my wife, part of it has been she can't go, but I'm not going. I don't want to go to an event without my kid or my wife. I don't like it at night. During the day, I think that's part of my job, but I don't want to go to most of the dinners. Now I've gone to like 9 in the last 10 nights, and I'm fine once I get there. Like the police academy thing. I'm like, I don't want to go. And I get there. I'm like, that was awesome. And even to the podcast, sometimes I'm like, here we go. And then blink my eyes, and 4 hours later, I'm like, this was awesome. So, anything else we can plug away for you? We're sort of at the end of our time. We got time. I know you and I can just sit here and
we could just chat for hours, probably. We could. I wanted to give a couple takeaways, or like a tip and a tool for your audience and the listeners here, circling back to kind of your experience with how you would start your mornings really well and intentionally, and then you'd meditate at night, but you'd also have the habit of like eating something would mess up your sleep, so on and so forth. And that reminded me of the importance of having bookends for your day. And so I have a couple notes, just some takeaways. So in the morning, like if you really want to set your day up for success, and by success, I mean feeling fully alive and a sense of fulfillment at the end of the day, waking up in the morning and asking yourself, just the first bookend is in the morning, and you're asking yourself, who needs me on my A game today? It is one of the most vital questions I think you can ask yourself, because when you can get your eyes off of you, stop navel gazing, and get your eyes up onto the world and who you're here to serve, you show up in such a different way and at such a higher level, because it's not about just you anymore. And the second thing I would say, in the middle of your day, or having a daily anchor where you're guarding some sort of ritual or rhythm. I know Brendan Burchard talks about how every single doorway he walks through, it's his visual trigger to remind him of his clarity words. Now, if you're not familiar with his work, a clarity word is you pick 3 words or characteristics that you want to embody for that day. So let's say for me, when I came here, I wanted to be bright and confident and impactful when I came on this podcast. So each doorway I go through, when I see it, I'm like, I am bold, I am confident, I am impactful, I am present. And having those daily anchors throughout your day is so stinking powerful, because it reconnects you and resets you to who you're growing to be and who you want to be, and gets you out of those feelings of self-doubt or the negativity spirals. And then your bookend is your reflection. Like, did I live today as my highest self? And what are 3 proofs that I did so? And those, if you don't do much self-growth or personal development or whatever, I feel like those right there are great ones to start with. And then start gauging yourself each Sunday when you use those. It's like, hey, did I feel more alive this week? Did I show up? Did I have more follow through? Was I more confident? And I promise you're going to feel a lot better when you do it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and that's part of like the ritual, like simultaneously being open to anything but having some rituals. So the time that I had probably the best personal growth, business life, everything it's funny because like right now I'm about to in a couple weeks try out for a Hairspray musical, probably when this podcast comes out. And like I'm nervous. Like people are like, oh, you're not nervous? What a gift. I'm like, well, I'm a gift about not being nervous on stage, but everything leading up to getting to it. I got to dance. I got to sing. I may be cross-dressing as a woman. Makes me nervous. But all the times that I've done these plays and stuff with Golden Triangle Theater, they practice at night. And so normally, like, so I'd get home, eat dinner with my family, go there at like 6:30 or 7, do it, and then go to the sauna afterwards, and then go home and take a cool shower and go to bed, and slept perfectly. And it was such a cool ritual, and it fit right into my life. And I'm like, that's kind of why I want the sauna at my house. Not that the YMCA being 4 blocks away is a problem, but I allow it to be a problem. The same way it would be a problem, you know, you put your tennis shoes on the ground, you're supposed to go there. I'm like, well, it's 5 blocks away. And I know that there's plenty of people who hang clothes on treadmills and stuff at their house. So that it's, you know, you find out that that's not the problem. It's you putting into your thing. But having those things, the days that I stray the furthest from positive affirmations and saying those things are the days where I can allow myself to spiral, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of a nap too. I imagine, you know, I don't know how many naps you get.
Not many. I do have specific quiet time every single day where people can read, they can go outside and play, they can play a game quietly for like a set hour and a half. And that is mom's like reset time. We can reset the house, my mind. I can nap if I want. I probably won't, but it's there.
Can you talk about how people can reach you and support you?
Yeah, so you can reach me at annabelledavies.com. That's my coaching website. If you actually offer 90-minute coaching sessions, I call it the shift session. Ooh, that's hard to say out loud. Okay. Anyway, that's where I can kind of breathe some life into you in whatever area it is you're feeling that you need some more growth in, or a strategy, or you're feeling blocked in. And I can help you strategize and just in a simple, powerful way and get you gaining momentum right away. That's what I've loved it, doing it with a few of my clients. And then you can also find me on Instagram. It's not going to be specifically coaching. It's just AnnabelleDavies.com. My name is spelled weird, though. It's ANNEBELLE. Most people
It's a
put
problem.
an A.
We should work on that, too.
We should. I know. Go get a name change. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And on Instagram, you're just going to see a lot more probably boy mom life, introvert humor / high performance coaching stuff on there. Real life.
Well, you get better at it all the time. So I've only been aware of it, I guess, probably about a year or so. But yeah, like when you came over when I tricked your husband into fixing a jukebox or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you do, and you have a glowing energy. Like there's people in the world who are just sitting here, you know, the more you're in tune with your own energy, as in myself, you can tell when people are suffering. That's my wife's favorite joke about me is this Seinfeld TV show where I say, I can sense the slightest amount of human suffering in a human being. And she's like, what are you feeling right now? And that's it. Same thing is that like, I can tell when somebody's hurting, and I've turned a better job. I remember when my mother, before she passed, like my memory from my whole life was she would call me and be like, I love you. I'm proud of you. And you're like, okay, whatever like that. Now I do it to my kids, but I've explained it like, I learned it from her after she was dead. Like I didn't appreciate it when it was happening, Yeah. And so now I'll call friends or people I don't know very well. I'm like, man, you did such a good job on that. And they're like, all right. And I'm like, man, good job. It's like, I know it's stressful with your son getting married. I hope it worked out for you. And they're like, all right. And then 2 weeks later, they'll be like, thank you, And so I like to say I like to feel that energy. When I met you, I was like, oh, she's peppy, like about something. And I'm
just about life.
Yeah, and like I said, you I don't know if I said this earlier, but there are people they're just going to dismiss you as yoga mom. Like there's yoga peppy.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's
somebody called me fitness Barbie mom the other day.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, thanks.
Well, I'm good buddies with Jessica Tackett. I say Jessica and Wade, but I'm really friends with Jessica. Wade's all right too. And they have
She's
the gym.
Awesome.
They have
She's
the gym in
star.
Columbus, and that's the same thing. Is like I kind of knew her and talked to her, and then the weird place to connect with somebody is she painted a butterfly on my face at 6:00 one morning for my TV show, and like got to really know her. And I'm like just thinking like she is so passionate about this sort of stuff, and her kids are at work all the time, and it's like it's a different path than you or I would do or whatever. But again, it's so people are just so easy to dismiss people. I always tell people, so when you generalize, somebody or put them in a group, you marginalize them. You know what I mean? When you say, oh, he's this guy. I don't like it when people don't know me or call me I dislike that identification of myself. They go, he's a car salesman guy. I'm like, oh, that hurts my feelings. I would never force somebody to house, blah, blah, blah. And I got asked on the Dispatch podcast when I was on, he's like, some people equate like one hand feeds the other. You do the charity for the marketing for the charity. And I'm like, I was so proud of myself because when I watched it, I immediately went, it's like, oh, they just don't know me. And like, he was like, oh, I thought you'd be more defensive. I'm like, no, they just don't know me, and it's okay,
Yeah. How freeing is it though to not have, like, my heart is so happy for you acknowledging that. You're like, oh yeah, I didn't get defensive in that moment. I was just like, oh, they just don't know me.
Yeah, that was my real response.
There's like that confidence. How freeing is that to be released from the pressure of other people's thoughts? Because
that wasn't the answer I planned either. Like, I knew they were going to ask it, and I was going to be like,
perfect, though.
And I did say, like, I was like, I'd really like to help them with their charity if I can. I was like, I even said, I'm sorry. I was like, but it was a good moment because, 2 years before, I would have been like, well, I mean, I spend this much money and do this much, and I immediately was so sincere. I'm like, oh, they still know me, man. Like, I really do want to. I'm addicted to that feeling of giving people the perfect Christmas gift or something like that. That's it. That's the rub. That's all I really want out of the deal. So. And
you said this was an interview or
this was the Commercial Dispatch has a podcast every week called Behind the Headlines, and they had me on there after the recent election because like I had done the speech at the inauguration to my friends, the governor and my I have a lot of political friends, but that was one of their other questions. They're like, oh, you noticed you didn't give him any money. I'm like, he's my friend. He should win it on his own. Like, politicians don't need money. I don't want to be
biased.
I'm biased. He's my friend. That was like the post in support ahead of him. I was like, Stephen Jones has always been good to me. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I was like, maybe we won't agree on taxes or something else, but he's like, he's one of the few friends who's been in the hospital with my wife. So that's my endorsement. He's done that.
Absolutely. So I'm curious I'd be curious to see what the person, who made that comment about you, if they replayed that back, if they noticed your energy in it and they're like, oh man, because I remember meeting you and you were immediately, to me, I was like, this guy is a people connector. He connects people in such a positive, kind manner. And I don't know, you have this vitality about you and this like humble joy about you. And I just really appreciate it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went back and listened to your
Well, the guy that asked me was Zach Player was a dispatch. It was a fair question because I'm sure some people from a distance don't know. And so when he asked, I don't know who, I'm sure there's always people out there throwing rocks from the distance. And so I'd like to get him a nicer rock if I can. But I felt the same way when I met you. Your husband's so much reserved, and you came in, and I was like, oh, she's kind of peppy, which makes sense too. Like my wife's awesome, but she's a little quieter than I am, obviously, and we're exhausting. I'm sure it's exhausting to be around us every day. I come home a day after today, and we'll sit in the corner, and my wife and children have said I've OC'd, which is a phrase in restaurant business, open to close. You OC'd, you work 15 hours, and they mean I've over-Colined. A little too much Colin, but it's not when I'm on, like when I need to be a sales guy. It's when I've done like stuff like this, talked to people all day and gotten to know them better and just gotten energy from that. And you get tired from sharing energy sometimes, so but you sleep better. So,
and for I have to kind of laugh though when you said I was peppy when you first met me, because I've always considered myself an introvert, and I feel like I'm the reserved one, and Nathan is the extrovert. And he'll talk to anybody.
Well, you weren't a peppy yoga person, but I mean, you're a glowing personality person, so you're all right.
Oh, thanks. My energy introduces me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Amy Bogue's a good example who runs Allegro Health Clinics. Like first time I met her, there were 80 people in a room, and she's like, and I'm like, oh, and I had never seen her Facebook post, and she is ironically a fitness person and that sort of thing, but. Same thing, like when we were on the podcast, all we talked about was personal growth stuff. And so it's interesting to me, the people that I've connected with who weren't I call them forced friendships at work or anything like that. Like just people who are no benefit to getting where I'm just and some of them aren't into personal growth at all. You know what I mean? They're just kind of glowing sort of people. And there's been stuff in my life that I'm better at defining now that I've taken classes and taken courses and gotten coaching and stuff like that. But the best benefit of it that I forget the most is the no negative self-talk, or at least realizing it when you do it to yourself that I would never call you a piece of shit for eating a brownie at 11 o'clock at night, and so I shouldn't do
thanks.
it to myself.
I appreciate that.
Well, I might now. I might text you one night.
Be like, did you have your brownie?
So I hope your kids didn't learn any new words hearing Colin on the radio tonight or the podcast today. So
I'm sure they know them anyway.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks for having you on. I know we could talk for 2 more hours, and I'll get you back on here again to do it. And
it's been an honor. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks for coming. Hey, guys. Thanks for listening to the podcast. My name is Colin Krieger, and my day job is real estate. If you're looking to buy or sell, I'd love to talk to you. Or if you just want to sit and talk real estate in a no-pressure situation, I'd love to help you. I work with RE/MAX Partners in Starkville, Columbus, and West Point, Mississippi. I can help you find an agent anywhere in Mississippi or anywhere in the country. Just reach out to our office at 662-327-7705 or find me anywhere when you type in 662-329-SOLD.